Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann, and I'm by myself. And as promised, this will be the first in a number of episodes I will record this week. I have been very busy the previous 2.5 weeks. But that does not mean that I have not had things to rant about. The thing I want to focus on today is the brilliant move by President Trump to loosen FCC restrictions on internet privacy. Basically, what he has done, he has made it a lot easier for people to get a hold of your internet information, your private data, but more importantly, what you're viewing is not protected anymore. Prior to this, FCC restrictions put in place by Obama would protect your internet service provider data so that somebody couldn't just, go to the provider, whoever you get internet from, and say, I want to get the information on what this person's looking at. I want to know what that person's looking at. And they say now that, well, your viewing history is now for sale to the highest bidder. And to that I say, uh-oh. I don't know if I want that. It's not just the privacy thing. I look at a lot of questionable shit on the internet, If you go back to the episode I did with the Dirty Bee where we talked about dirty porn videos we saw on her phone and that I also looked at on the internet again at my parents' house, it's like I don't need somebody to go and find out just how much vomit porn I have Googled or how many times I've watched that video of a horse blowing itself or things like that. Think about what you look at on the internet. I'm not talking about Yahoo News or your email or shit like that. It's all the questionable shit that you only view when your girlfriend or your wife isn't home and you're alone and no one's going to see you. Like the really weird fetishy crap that you're curious about, but you want to know more about it so that you go and you do some digging on the old interwebs to find photos of Asian she-males banging each other. I can't help it. I have the level of curiosity of a child. I want to know more about everything. So when I hear about something new, I go to the Google encyclopedia of everything and I try to find it. But more importantly, think of it this way. Your personal information outside of the internet is always for sale. Companies will put boxes that you check on contracts that say, we will not sell your personal data. Well, that's not for everywhere or everything. Case in point, when I bought my car a few years ago, I bought it from Boyer Ford down in the quarry of Minneapolis. So about 1.5 years after I bought my car, I started getting a shit ton of solicitations from telemarketers trying to sell me extended warranties on my car. And I finally, after about 6 months of that shit, I got fed up and said, how the fuck did you even get my number? Because you're calling me from where? New Jersey. How do you even know who I am? Well, the company that sold you that gave you the loan. I mean, the car dealership won't sell your information, but the loan giver does. So we know who buys vehicles, and we know that your warranty's up at this time. So not only do I get calls from companies, I get fucking robocalls all the time on my cell phone because it used to be you'd only get bothered on your landline. Well, most people are ditching the landline for only cellular service. And Jesus Christ, I still get so many calls for fucking car warranties, and I just tell them, I'm like, if you're calling about my 2012 Ford Fusion, I'll just have you know right now that I bought an extended warranty at the time of purchase, and I'm covered through February of 2019. What else can I help you with? And that's usually when they go, oh, I'm sorry, or they hang up. It's hilarious. But, like, you get these automated calls now like, hi, this is Jessica. I'm calling from Card Representative Services about your debt. Fucking robocalls. So now, take into consideration what's happening with the internet now that Trump is loosening the restrictions on the protection of data. And now all these businesses that want to know what you look at, what sites you're into, they want to cater you to get your dollar. They're fighting tooth and nail to figure out who you are, where you're at, and what you do with your money. Imagine now if you're one of those people that constantly watches cat videos and you're getting fucking robocalls from a representative at Whiskas. They want to sell you an entire pallet of cat food, or they want to sell you new therapeutic kitty beds or orthotics for your dog for when you take him on walks with his little snowshoes. Bullshit like that. And for me, I cruise sports sites, I cruise music news sites, and a few CD trading sites. Other than that, though, it's a lot of porn to laugh at, just fucked up stuff. So what I got to worry about, somebody's going to call me and be like, "Hello, sir, we've noticed that you viewed a great deal of bestiality porn recently, and we were wondering if we could possibly talk to you today about a subscription to our magazine, Man Animal Love Monthly. If you like watching men and horses, or if you just like watching horses by themselves, if you want to see what it looks like when a Scottish farmer sticks his dick in a sheep's asshole, our publication is right up your alley." Like, I don't want to have to field those calls. I really don't. Or I don't want to get a call from adamandeve.com because the Dirty B and I watched a 16-minute montage of pegging videos. I wanted to know what a guy would sound like when he's getting railed in the ass by a strap-on by his girlfriend. Curiosity took over, and I looked at it a lot with her. We giggled. It's disgusting, and also very concerning for the health of these gentlemen that may die from perforated rectums. But I digress. I don't need to get calls or get hit up with spam mail on my Yahoo account from even more people that are trying to get the most bang out of my buck. No pun intended. Think about that. And Trump will say that it's for the protections of the American people. We're trying to find out which individuals are looking at lone wolf terrorist recruiting sites. But I got to believe that you don't need to make it an open marketplace for every Tom, Dick, and asshole corporation that wants to just carnivorously consume data of private citizens to find out what they spend their time looking at or what they might be interested in spending their money on. You don't need to do that to find terrorists. You've got the DOJ. You've got the Department of Homeland Security. You've got the Department of Homeland Security also. You know how to find these terrorists. You haven't had a problem doing it so far. And I fail to think that loosening up restrictions on internet privacy is going to somehow save us from the next homegrown terror attack. I don't understand why you would think that. I just think we need to lock this shit down. I don't want them to be like the Gestapo or the KGB, where they utilize this information to go kicking indoors on would-be terrorists in the middle of the night and throw a potato sack over their head, drag them into a van, and drive them somewhere to waterboard them. Because we know that Trump's okay with torture. He said that. It's almost like he's got this TV mindset about how he's going to find the terrorists and then slowly turn America into a police state so that he can locate them. Like he's hell-bent on his legacy being that he tried the hardest to find the terrorists and fight for freedom and protect Americans. But honestly, I don't need you to know what I'm doing on the internet. Now, I'm not looking at child porn. I'm not stealing people's identities. But who's to say that you're not going to buy an entire state's worth of data just to weed out through all the millions of people that live there to find 5 or 6 people? Couldn't there be a better use of resources and time? I think so. And if this is the start, him saying, we're doing this to protect the citizens. We want to find them. We want to find the terrorists at home because I'm very good at finding terrorists. And I'll be the best at finding the terrorists that you've ever seen in Terrorist Finders. We're going to find these losers, and we're going to seek them out and put them in internment camps. Like, I'm all for finding guys that want to strap pipe bomb vests to their chest and go running into a bank and hugging a random grandma, or these fuck knuckles that go driving their trucks through crowded marketplaces and detonating car bombs and shit. And nobody wants terrorism at home. But you have to weigh the cost benefit of giving up that much privacy. Like working in a jail, I fight so hard to keep my private data like absolutely out of the mouths of the offenders. Because I don't need some jail dummy showing up to my house and be like, oh, this is where you live. It's a nice place. Yeah, you got some cool stuff. Like, I don't need some motherfucker casing the joint looking to rip me off, especially to fund his next drug fix just because he didn't like the way I talked to him inside the hooskow. So, I have to go to like websites constantly when I find out about these new personal data threats, like Family Tree Now. Go to familytreenow.com. type in your name. If your name shows up, scourge the site a bit to get your name removed from that, because anybody, anywhere can go to that site, enter your name and the state you live in, and if they know your age or the names of some of your accomplices or family members, they can get your list of current and former addresses. It's right fucking on there. I saw it and went, holy shit. So I went to town right there, getting rid of my name, my parents' name,
the beast's
name, the Dirty Bee's name. Is fucking ridiculous. Or let's say whitepages.com. You have to go to whitepages.com and request to be removed from their services of listing so that random people can't find you just because they have a duty to list all the numbers. Now, they don't have my cell phone number, but they had my address, and I don't want that shit out there. I have a very uncommon last name. I wish that I was like a John Johnson sometimes. Would make it way easier. But work won't let me use a false name on my name tag. So now, you've got all these sites that already put you at risk for bad guys to come and find you, as Bush Jr. would say.
But we are listening in on the evildoers so we can find out what evil deeds the evildoers are planning on doing.
And it's only going to get worse. I don't get what Trump is doing, why he thinks he's not doing a good job. I was going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and now I'm just like, dude, you are fucking up left and right. This wiretap bullshit, and the way that you have these weird press conferences where Sean Spicer's screaming at people. Your new replacement for Obamacare just failed miserably, and now you're just going to throw in the fucking towel? Boy, you were really committed to that shit. So, now he's declaring war on internet privacy. They've all but said, this is how we're going to find the terrorists at home. Like, you can't use military intelligence to seek out the terrorists without doing this. Come on. Give me a fucking break. Now, one thing that I haven't touched upon yet, and I have a deep worry about this all the time, and everybody should in the digital age, is having my identity stolen. Somebody steals your identity, runs up a bunch of credit card accounts in your name to get all kinds of stupid shit. Maybe they're doing it stateside. Maybe they're doing it in Russia. Maybe they're doing it in China. Maybe they're doing it in Africa. I don't fucking know. But now, if there's less restrictions on the sale of your internet data that people can use to identify you, maybe they get your history of what you're looking at, and it gives them your name, your address, your date of birth. Heaven forbid these days, too many places are asking for your social security number. This, in my opinion, makes it dangerously easy for individuals or groups to pose as a corporation seeking to pay for data. They say it's for sale to the highest bidder. Well, what's going to stop a bunch of internet dingbats from banding together, like some hackers, and using their Bitcoin fund to purchase a mass lump of data? Because say one company that legitimately wants to use it for marketing purposes buys your data. They've got a giant database, a giant mass of people's personal information right there that they're utilizing to try to analyze for marketability purposes. Then you get some subgroup that purchases it again. Then they buy it from the company. The company's already got your info. They're going to sell it to the next person to recoup the cost of what they paid to get it, right? And say that the people that get it now are some weird internet perverts or some Russian hackers or Chinese hackers or God knows who, and they buy it and use it to exploit you financially.
Blackmail!
Everybody's always working an angle on the internet. That's why the Ashley Madison data breach was so huge, because all the names were posted and guys were being threatened to have their information sent to their wives and bosses about cheating on them. And it was for sale to the highest bidder. They were being exploited. They were holding the information hostage. Pay us or we're going to release this information. The same thing could happen with your internet viewing habits. Oh, we're going to tell your boss that you look at all kinds of weird vomit porn. We're going to tell your wife that you watch videos of Asian girls spanking each other. I don't know. Just anything you look at that could be embarrassing. Because that's the best part of the internet, right? Is you can look at all the fucked up shit that you have a morbid curiosity about is right there at a few clicks and button pushes, and you can see it. I don't have a smartphone, so I don't have to worry about that shit. But let's say some guy's a closeted gay. He's got a Grindr account on the down low from his wife, and he's fucking dudes on the side. He doesn't want her to know. And then people get a mass collection of Grindr account information. Why? Are they going to sell them amyl nitrate and double-ended dildos? I don't think so. People are always looking to exploit you, and I think it makes it that much easier for people to get enough information on you that they could potentially find ways to exploit you for money, that they could potentially find ways to extort money out of you, or steal your identity and get money that you'll get stuck having to try to make up for with legal costs to defend your own good name and prove you didn't buy this shit, and then that costs you, the consumer, money to defend yourself legally. It's just opening too many trap doors. It seems really fucking stupid. You know, and here's another thought. Terrorist organizations find out the names of military members and target their families. Sounds pretty unlikely, but it has happened. Who's to say that ISIS continues to make an online imprint and they find out the names of major military leaders to go after their families, to then get their homegrown lone wolf terrorist attackers to target the families of high-ranking military officials? You never know. Look at the stupid email scandal with Hillary during the election. Now imagine if that was, say, a general, and somehow some Russian hacker or hacker group, or let's say some Islamic militant group, started figuring out the names of the highest-ranking military officials. Use that information to try to hire hackers or their own homegrown hackers to get the information of where these people live. Then they utilize that information to activate sleeper cells that they have here in the States or in Canada or in Mexico. You know, there's people that cross the border every day for, quote, work-related purposes or sightseeing, shit like that, you know, tourism. And then they start attacking the homes of military members. Now, it may seem like a far-off long shot, but do you really want to gamble with your online security in a way that could potentially end up screwing us twice as hard as it helps us catch a few lone wolves? It just seems very irresponsible that in this day and age, anybody would fathom making personal data less secure when the crimes that are being used to exploit personal data are getting more and more complicated all the time. It ain't easy to catch people performing or committing white-collar crime. Just look at how many millions, like hundreds of millions, almost billions of dollars of wrongfully claimed tax returns. Because that's the big scam now, stateside, is on the ground. Mail theft for tax return fraud. Somebody files a false return in your name because they get a hold of your personal data and they get money back. And then you're fucked because you go to register to file your taxes, and they're like, you already filed. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. And here's your payout. Here's the date. Here's the paperwork. And now you're fighting with the IRS, who could give a shit less about you, to try to defend your good name. You're getting fucked left, right, and sideways. So not only are you getting the money you were probably waiting on, you've already had your identity stolen. So while you're figuring out what's going on with the tax fraud shit, who's to say they're not using that same information now to go and apply for credit cards? It's going to be a multi-pronged butt-fuck attack. You're going to have so many dicks in and out of your proverbial online anal wallet that you're not going to know what end is up. So for your own safety, because this has already passed, it hasn't gone into effect, but we're already seeing that they're okaying companies and entities to purchase data for whatever reason. Do yourself a favor and look up ISP protection software. And if it's cheap enough, get it, because what it will do will encode all of the data that you're putting out there on the internet. All you plunkheads that are walking around with your tablets and your phones utilizing Wi-Fi hotspots and shit just view stupid crap on the internet. People are easily getting your data, and that's how you're getting your fucking identity stolen. Just go back to only using secure internet connections with addresses that start with HTTPS. Make sure that lock symbol's there. I say get the encoding software for your ISP information. Make sure that you're protected so that you do not become a victim. Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It? That is at What Do We Call It? You can find the show on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm Jmann. And that's the end.